talk to Gage.
Howl's Moving Castle is a very polarizing film. It has long since been one that I am not a huge fan of due to how confusing I found many of the themes in the story were and what the plot was as well. Just all culminated in creating this work of art that was very difficult to wrap my mind around. But things have changed. I no longer think this way, at least entirely. I do like the movie, and I would dare say it's one of my favorite Ghibli films, maybe even a top 10. So the reason why this is because I found upon rewatching it this most recent time in preparation for that tier list video that I made, I found something else that was really impactful to me personally. And I think a lot of people should hear about this and should definitely give that movie a watch, or maybe even a rewatch if you've seen it before and you didn't like it that much the first time. This is like your reminder to check it out with a new lens. So what am I talking about? Well, what I'm talking about is Howl's Moving Castle does a really good job portraying this idea of insecure love. I could just say that, and you could go into the movie with just that information, and I feel like you would gain so much more from watching it this time, just from that alone. But the real beauty of it is the fact that it's relatable and something that I can actually point out situations in my own personal life that sort of correlate with that story theme and that message. So what I'm talking about with that is, I cannot tell you, of course, right now we're living in the year 2024. It's a crazy time. There's a lot of crazy bad things going on in the world, in our country, things like that. One of the things about it is sort of the ground level, just our personal individual experiences that we live through on a day-to-day basis. And something I've noticed today, at least, is there is a shocking amount of people whom I've had an interest in getting to know and potentially dating and just had a romantic interest in. If I had $1 for every time I've been told I'm just not ready. I'm just not ready for love yet. I'm not ready to date anyone yet. I would probably be fairly rich at this point. And that's kind of weird, right? This is something that I've seen time and time again, over and over, and it seems to be a trend. And who knows, maybe this is just something that I've only, this is very much like a me thing, a personal experience type thing. And maybe some of you have never even had someone say that to you before. But I don't know, there just seems to be this underlying idea of fear around the idea of loving someone or receiving love. And so to bring this back to Howl's Moving Castle, this is a movie where both of our main characters are incredibly insecure people. They're incredibly flawed, and they're not perfect. They're not at their peak, if you will. Just looking at these characters and watching their stories unfold, that's kind of part of what the movie's all about, is the fact that Sophie doesn't really believe in herself, doesn't really think that she's pretty, and she turns into this old woman. But the beauty there is that this movie is trying to show us that, yes, on an individual level, these characters have flaws and insecurities and struggles, but they're not in a movie by themselves. They're in a movie with each other. And that's where the beauty comes in, because it's about the characters learning to love themselves, but it's also about the other person, Howl and Sophie in this case, helping each other to reach their potential, helping them to reach the person that they were always meant to be. And that's really where the beauty of this movie lies, because it teaches us that we don't have to be at our peak. We don't have to be at our absolute best all the time, 100%, in order to basically find love or even be loved or to love someone. It just doesn't make sense. Think about it from this angle. If you're someone who is like that, where you say, I'm just not ready for love, I gotta work on myself, I'm too flawed, whatever it is, self-improvement's great. There's nothing wrong with that. I agree. We should all be striving to be better people and improve ourselves. But that's not what the statement's saying. The statement's saying, well, I'm flawed, which means I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready to be loved or to love someone. But if you think about it from this angle, you know, your family, like your blood family right now, who you may live with or at least may have connections to and communications with right now, do you love them? And that's a serious question. Like, do you still love them? They're not going away anytime soon, right? Or at least they're not gone right now. You know, if you do still have family around and you choose to love them, don't you? Even in the times when you aren't perfect or you are struggling, you're still by their side. If they need support, you support them. If you need support, they support you, ideally. I know not everyone's situation is the same, and that's not how the situation everyone's in. So I totally recognize that. But that's not the point. The point I'm trying to get at, hopefully you all can see, is that what makes finding a spouse, you know, a partner in life any different? Because to me, it's really not. You know, it's about finding family. You know, anyone can become family in this world, but it just takes effort, openness, the ability to love yourself, at least like who you are, you know, and be comfortable, you know, in your own skin, as they say. There's nothing getting in the way of you loving someone than yourself at the end of the day, unless we're talking about some like really horrible people, you know, like really bad people. I think this is a really powerful message, honestly. And yeah, Howl's Moving Castle is definitely a phenomenal movie for multiple reasons. You know, this message, the actual story going on, and the animation's fantastic. But it is definitely a flawed movie. It's very, very bloated, that's for sure. So I don't know, maybe that's not a flaw. Who knows? But I do think the movie's taking on a little too much. But this is just an angle to the movie that I went into it this past time trying to see. And it really opened my eyes. It really improved the experience. And now it's got to be one of my favorites, just because I feel like this is such an uncommon theme, an uncommon message today, in today's world, you know, because everybody thinks that they have to be perfect. You know, they think everything has to be perfect before they can start living their lives. And I just completely disagree with that. So yeah, that's about it.